Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I love it every time we get together with her. She has such insight into our lives thanks to our past lives. I guess it might be, things that have happened in our past, our loved ones that have passed on. And she sees things. And she's Shannon. She's an amazing psychic medium. She's back with us. Hey, Shannon, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Fantastic. It's great to have you back here. We've been through a lot in a few short weeks in terms of connecting people, you sharing pictures that were part of readings where you described something and then the person you read said, yeah, I have that in a picture, and then showed
Yes.
them and you sent it to us.
hmm
How's the week been going? Weird reading?
It's
What's happening?
it's been a weird week. We had a lot of readings where a lot of interesting things happen. I did talk to a gentleman named Eric and gave him a lot of things about his future. And I asked how his dad was. I asked how his dad's heart was. And ironically, his dad had a heart attack that night.
Oh my God.
So I don't usually see anything bad. I don't predict death or anything. And his dad, I think, is going to be fine. But I mentioned, have his heart checked out, and he ended up having a heart
Wow.
attack that night. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, but I predict that there's a property that he's been interested in for a long time, and I think that that's going to come about in 2027.
What with the
So,
heart situation, what did you see, feel, sense to deliver that information?
I just kept hearing heart. Ask his dad about his heart,
Hmm.
and I often will get that during a reading that I'll just seem to see something or just know. And I think that that's my background as a family nurse practitioner. I'll just feel a body part or just be drawn to a word, and we'll say, hey, do they have diabetes, or I won't be able to breathe real well, and I'll be like, do they have lung problems or something? I
Hmm.
think you need to get XYZ checked out. And sure enough, that'll either happen to them, like I've said to somebody, I think that somebody's going to trip, and I think they're going to end up where they're going to break their ankle. And so just tell them to really watch when they're walking, because I see them tripping and when they're on vacation and rolling their right ankle. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
So I was like, you might not want to wear those black shoes, and they wore them, and that's exactly what happened. And with other people, I've said, have them check, have them check their wrists, because I think they have carpal tunnel. And sure enough, they already had carpal tunnel. And I said, I really, they were reticent to get the surgery. I'm like, I really think you should get the surgery. Like, how did you know that? I had a guy who the lady was late to a reading. Hey, get your eye. I think his eyes are going to be fine. And I said, it's his left eye. He's not going to have it again. And I had no idea. And I was totally correct.
My gosh. I think I shared with you that the best psychics I've ever worked with all have a medical background. I don't know what it is. I think
Mhm.
maybe it's the universe
Mhm.
sets you and they up for that, but you have a better connection to physiology and all of that. We're going to go to Todd on Long Island. By the way, instant feedback, steve@gmail.com if you want to connect with us today. Hey, Todd, can you hear us?
I certainly can, Steve.
All right. We have Shannon here who is ready to read you.
Hey, Todd, how are you?
I'm doing I'm doing well. Yourself?
Good, good. Is there someone who's passed that you want to hear from?
Um, sure, why not? It would be a
Okay.
first time for me.
Okay. And who's passed that you want to hear from today?
My grandmother
Okay.
or my
And what's
or my mother, either one.
okay. And give me a name, a first and last name.
Phyllis. Phyllis.
Phyllis.
Phyllis. You want married name or maiden name or
Doesn't matter to me.
Phyllis Miranda?
Okay. Okay. Um, is this your mom or your grandmother?
That's my grandmother.
Okay. Okay. Um, Did she used to cook a lot in the kitchen? Because I'm hearing the word ravioli.
She did. She did.
Okay. Did she make pasta by herself instead of buying it?
No.
Okay. Because I don't know why I'm hearing ravioli. Did she used to wear little dresses all the time, like not pants? Because I see her in print dresses.
Not really. Not that I recall.
Did she wear pants? Because I'm seeing her in dresses.
hmm Probably, I would say more pants.
Okay. So what did your mom dress in?
Uh, Nothing. Certainly not dresses.
Okay. All right. So let me see what she's saying here. Did your grandmother ever go to church?
She did.
Okay. Did she was she Catholic that I'm seeing a rosary?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Did she pass before your grandfather?
No.
Okay. Um, was he tall?
My grandfather?
Yes.
Not particularly.
Okay.
Average.
Was he taller than her?
Yes.
Okay. Because she's saying that he would lean over to kiss her.
Probably not.
Okay. So she's saying that she's proud of her grandchildren. Do you have children?
I do, but I'm her grandchild.
So it would be you. And then she's saying she has great grandchildren and she's holding her arms out. So you have brothers and sisters, I take it?
Do I have brothers and sisters? Yes, but
Oh,
not her grandchildren.
okay. She is proud of her family. What is it that you do for a living?
I've been a financial advisor and now opening a new business.
Okay. You're going to do well in this business. Does it have anything to do with building things?
Building things. I'm going to be building a venue is what I'll be doing.
Okay, because I just drew a construction truck, so I was wondering what you were building. So that building will go up and it's going to do fine.
Okay.
Okay. And the business is going to do fine as well. I'm seeing light lavender flowers. Do you remember what her house looked like?
Yeah.
Was there any bushes or anything like a lilac bush or anything?
Not that I recall.
Because I feel like this was out back versus out front.
I don't recall that.
Okay. You might want to ask one of your siblings whether it was, or did you guys bring her Easter plants? You know, like when you buy those Easter plants and it's a single flower?
I guess.
So you're seeing purple
Yeah.
flower?
Yeah, it's a light lavender purple flower is what I'm seeing. So you might either encounter them or you might come across one of those because that's what she keeps showing me. And it's
Okay.
like a single one. Okay. And that's going to be a sign from your grandmother to say that everything is going to be fine with the not only the building of, but the opening and the running of this new business. Okay.
Okay.
At your grand opening, Todd, you should have purple flowers all over the front of the place.
Yes, that's what
Keep that,
I would do.
I'll keep that in mind.
That's what I would do. Do you have a daughter?
I do not.
both of your children are boys?
Yes.
Is one of them married?
No.
Why am I seeing a daughter? Is one of them is one of them old enough to date?
They are. Yeah.
Aha. Okay. Is one of them dating a girl?
No, nobody's dating at the moment.
Okay. The one who gets married first is going to have a daughter, will be his first child. She wants a grandbaby. That's a girl. She's starting to push for that. She says they're young, so they must be in their teens. But she's pushing for a granddaughter, for a great girl. Well, it would be her great grandchild. She's pushing for a girl. So the one who gets married first will have a daughter first as their first one. I'm really good at babies, trust me, Todd. Very
Okay.
rarely am I wrong on the baby front. So your business is going to do fine. You're going to start seeing lavender and purple flowers in odd places. And when your son gets married, he's gonna have a daughter first as his first child.
Now,
Do you have
Todd mentioned that his grandmother and his mother have passed. Anything coming up from about his mom?
Let me see. Did your mom pass of an illness versus an accident? Okay. Was it something like a cancer illness? Because
Yes.
I'm having okay. Because I'm having that versus like a heart or anything like that. She's saying that she feels beautiful again. Did she not feel pretty when she was ill?
I would assume so. Yeah.
Okay. She says that she feels very pretty again, and that she's able to taste and eat again, and that she feels like herself again. And she keeps showing me she keeps wearing a dress, and she's twirling around in a dress, and it looks like it's more of like a red coral dress. But she said, um, you said you have a sister?
Yes.
Tell your sister this, because I think this is going to matter to your sister, that your mom is doing that. Did your mom want to go on a cruise? Because I keep hearing Europe, and I feel like it might be some kind of cruise, because I feel like I'm somewhere in Europe, and she's wearing this dress, and she's twirling around in this dress. So you'll need,
That doesn't sound like my mother to be wearing a dress or twirling or wanting to go to Europe, but she has gone on cruises.
okay. You need to tell your sister this, because I think your mom felt like she missed out. So if you tell your sister this, I think it's going to matter, because she said that it's not something that she was very much of a homebody in life, but I feel like there were things that she felt like she didn't do when she was alive. And when it was too late, there were some things that she felt like maybe she should have done, and she told your sister and not you. So that's why it won't make sense to you, and it's going to make sense to your sister. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so that's why I mentioned the cruise, because it is something that she did do, but the Europe and the wearing the dress is not something that she did do, but it's going to make sense to your sister.
Okay.
Because the feeling that I have when she's doing this is almost like the sound of music, and she's saying that she's alive and free again, and that she's feeling good and healthy. Because I think your sister asked her for a sign. So tell your sister that that's the sign.
She's free and
She feels alive and healthy again.
And something about a cruise and a red dress.
Yes. and that I'm feeling something like Europe. She keeps saying the word piazza to me.
Okay.
So I believe that this is your sister was asking her for a sign to say that she was okay. That's your sister's sign. And that's only meant for your sister.
So she's feeling alive, and what else you said?
Alive, healthy, and free. And she's somewhere on a piazza, and she's just showing me her in a dress, like twirling around. And I keep like it's like something like in The Sound of Music, how she was on the hill twirling around in a dress. That's what she's doing, but she's in this beautiful dress, and she looks very healthy and looks wonderful.
Todd, you have
So
homework. Talk to your sister and let us know if there's a connection there. Wouldn't it be interesting if his sister says, "Yeah, we just booked a cruise to Europe," or something like that?
yes,
You never know.
yeah. Or I'm expecting her to say, "I asked mom to tell me that she was okay," and that's her sign. That's what she's going to say to him.
Gotcha. All
Because
right.
I asked mom to tell me she was okay. But thank you, Todd. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Thanks, Todd.
okay. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. I appreciate it. All right.
All right. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Great. Bye-bye.
Bye
Interesting.
bye.
The red dress. Where are you seeing a woman in a red dress? Are you seeing a red dress?
I'm actually seeing his mom in a red dress, and and when I see this, usually when people show me their photo later, that's exactly the person that I'm seeing. So yeah, that's the person that I'm seeing. And when they show me them in dresses, um, if you like when he said she um she didn't wear dresses all the time, they'll show me themselves at their best. But she did wear dresses, not all the time. So they'll show me themselves at their best a lot. Sometimes like I'll say to people, your grandfather never wore jeans. He's only showing me himself in like those green work pants. Like they'll show me something very specific as to what they wore. Like, this guy was a jeans and t-shirt guy, right? Like he would have never worn khakis. They'll show me something very specific to what they did. And sometimes people just don't remember, and they'll say, I don't recall, I don't remember. I hear that more than not. And then when they talk to somebody else in the family will be like, oh my gosh, of course they did. And then they come back to us. And me and Jen hear that all the time. They come back and they're like, oh, somebody told us, of course she had a lilac bush in the back. Don't you remember? Of course grandma wore, dresses all the time. They just don't remember.
I call it psychic amnesia, when
yes,
you're connected at that moment and you only have, a short period of time with a medium, just trying to remember that stuff. Like, as I'm thinking, my grandmother always wore dresses. My mother never wore dresses. Lilac, I've thought about that, and I do believe it was, if I were to think, my grandma, lilac, she loved them. And I had a bush in my backyard, but she spent a lot of time at my house. But all of these things, like if I was trying to process it, for a guy to think back to his grandmother, I don't know if she wore dresses. Sometimes it's hard,
Yeah.
especially
Men are
specific.
a little bit harder. Yeah. They're always a little bit harder to read. Especially when it was someone that, when they were younger, they're a little harder, to read than women are in general, just because they don't always retain the detail memory, that women do. And that's just normal. And it's just something that we encounter. And it's, but usually, I knew when I was seeing the dress and he didn't recognize it, I knew right away it had to be for his sister, because I started feeling more feminine things. And I thought, it's for his sister. It's for his sister. And because I kept hearing something about a female in there, and I thought, it's for his sister. It's for his sister.
There could be so many specific things that come up that, again, at that moment, you're not getting it. Todd may take that away, and in an hour, bing, oh, wait a minute. I remember the time my mom went to, this event, and she was wearing a red dress.
And when I drew the dump truck, I knew that he was building something new. I think that stumped him a little bit because I knew he was doing something new, and that not only was it a new endeavor, I knew he was physically going to build something. And I was like, is he going into construction or is he actually building something? And I think that kind of stumped him for a minute. And I was like, oh, he's actually building something. So, I knew right away she was telling him, don't worry about the construction of the building. Like, not only is that going to go well, but everything about it is going to go well, and the
Wow.
new endeavor is going to go well. So I kept wondering, like, why am I drawing a dump truck? And I didn't even realize that's what I was drawing until suddenly it pops out of my mouth. Like, what are you doing that's different? So it was kind of
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Well,
he did it. That's why I was like, what is he doing? Because I knew he wasn't whatever the construction thing was, I knew that's not what he's doing today. So it
and
was
it appears
interesting.
that it's on target because
Hmm.
of his response that he's building a business. It involves a building,
Hmm.
and whether it's from the ground up, we don't know, but at the very least, he's building something.
Yeah,
And it sounds like
yeah,
there's building materials involved, not just I'm building an empire. No, it sounded like it sounded like you connected there very well.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, and he was a little hard in the beginning to read, um, and then once we got rolling, then we were rolling because he was the perfect example of someone who was not as open to the reading. I could feel he was a little bit blocked because you're nervous. He's thinking, is she going to read my mind? No, I cannot read people's mind, but
Right.
what is she going to pull out of here? But then you could tell he was starting to get relaxed
Yep.
because if we had an hour, I would have blown him away by the end of the hour because you could tell he was starting to relax as I'm starting to pull things.
And
And
when we first met, and by the way, I'm fully
yeah,
open to everything, transparent. I don't care what you say. I will validate it, or I'll be honest. I'll shoot it down. No, it doesn't make sense to me. Um, from the moment we met, I mean, literally from the second you brought my aunt through, and it was spot on. And I guess
hmm
that's because I was open to it. Let's go.
hmm
What do you got?
yeah,
Nobody's
yeah,
ever read her before, which I thought was
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and I had somebody um, who has said that to me before. The When we were doing the photos, I had sent you two photos, and the one lady, the other photo we didn't show was for a lady named Jackie, and she's read multiple times, has gone to mediums, and her ex-husband has come through, and most of his message was the same, and she wanted to hear from someone else. And I said, your ex-husband's come through. Do you want to hear his message? And it started out much the same. But when I started mentioning daisies and I described the photo, which is on our Facebook page, Shannon Dee Sees Things, and I described that photo memory to her, she's never had that before.
Mm,
She's never
wow.
had daisies mentioned, anything like that. I think it absolutely floored her.
Wow.
And
And I
I
saw
just
that.
think it's
I saw
different.
that picture. You sent
Yeah,
that to us. Yeah.
it's weird. It's weird.
You know what I need to send to you? And I just thought of
Mhm.
this in that office in back of me. There is on the wall a newspaper clipping of my aunt shortly before she passed, and they honored her in
Really?
the town that she helped build up. And I'm going to send it to you, and you can post it if you want. Here's the thing. You're going to see that the description that you gave me of her without ever seeing her or knowing anything, you pulled a woman through, and I'm like, that's my aunt. You said she's tall like a model, pretty, and had a hat on. And she
Mhm.
was historically known in the village for decades. Oh, there's the hat lady. She'd be walking down the street. There's a hat lady. That
Mhm.
was her calling, and that she was
Mhm.
very successful in business, and that's how people knew her. And you nailed that right away. And I just remembered I have a picture like right there. So
Oh, I would love to see what it looks like versus what she looked like, especially the first time I saw her when she was at my windshield and just startled me so much because I could see her. Sometimes they will be a little more see-through-y, like transparent, and
okay,
other times they'll be as filled in as you are to me. And she was
gotcha.
as filled in as you are to
Wow,
me. So I'm
wow.
curious to see how
Yep.
much how much she looks like
I'll shoot it to
what
you.
I saw. Yeah,
And
I'm
keep
very
in mind,
curious.
this is when she was 90 in this around that age where she was being honored in a ceremony, and it was, newspaper took a photo, but I'll shoot it to you. Super
Very
cool.
curious.
I could just lean back and just watch you work. Like I wish I was like looking through the window every time you do a reading, because I think it's so cool. And looking over your shoulder as you're sketching and doodling, because that was where the answers come up. How do we make that connection with you, Shannon? If somebody's looking to connect with a loved one, has some questions, whatever it might be.
They can text my good friend, my cousin Jen, at 215-680-7693. They can text or call Jen. Easy to set up an appointment. It only takes a few minutes. And they can always go on our Facebook page to see what we're doing. I often post, most days I'll post a little snippet of readings. Pretty soon we're going to start posting our videos, our Zoom videos for my readings, and I'll probably start posting up just what my page looks like from some of the readings, because
Super cool.
people are interested to see what they look like. I never thought to post down.
I think that's a great idea. Like, take us.
I never thought to do that, to do it. I never thought anyone cared, but I'm starting to give that to the people that I read for now, because I have Rocketbook, and I can just scan it, and I just scan it and save it to myself, and I'm saving myself tons of notebooks now.
But I got to tell you, your doodles are very clear. Sometimes when people doodle, I don't know what that is. Oh, that's a woman in a red dress. You might not know. Yours are very clear. It'd be cool to do even a real video, just the process. This is what you drew. Then somebody gave you
do that
validation with a photograph. Something like that, it'd just be kind of cool. Like, just even if it's 30 seconds, the process of a reading, something like that. Just cool.
You know what? When I have a bunch of readings coming up next week. I'll put together a couple reels, and I'll shoot one to you. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that.
I'm always thinking, Shannon, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
What you do. Tell Jen I said hi. We missed her this week. And,
I know. I missed her. She was away all week, and I missed not talking to her. It was driving me crazy.
Yeah. So, well, we'll catch up next time, okay?
All right, sure will.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.